Hi to all of you out there in YouTube land. This is my first video. I spent a lot of time thinking about what I was going to do these videos about and came up with absolutely no clue whatsoever. So I figured I'd just talk about some of the things that interest me, and we'll do a bit of a variation on themes. My first video is going to be about wrestling. I know there's a lot of other wrestling shows out there, and everybody seems to have a point of view. The thing I'd like everybody who sits out there criticising to take into account is that these people do know what they're doing, and what they're doing is making money. Now, they will make a show which they believe appeals to the widest possible audience for the demographic that they're looking at and to the advertisers they're looking at, because that's where they make their money. Selling those little spots to companies is where the revenue comes from. And anybody who sits there making videos and putting them on YouTube who thinks that Vince McMahon and co sit in their little ivory towers wherever they are and watch these things and take into account what anybody says, they're just fooling themselves. They're not. They know what they're doing. They are very, very good at making money. Vince McMahon in particular. I mean, you know, look at the guy's portfolio, look at what the company's worth, look at the ratings they get every week, and he tells you himself, they're not a wrestling company. Watch Beyond the Mat, he'll tell you, comes out of his own mouth, we're not a wrestling company, wrestling's just there to get people in the door. We make movies. That's what Vince McMahon says, that's what he believes, because that's where he thinks he can make most money. I'm going to have a quick word about Raw this week, very short word about Raw this week. Don't need to say much else other than Stone Cold Steve Austin, no 316, no giving anybody the bird, didn't stun anybody. What was the point? That just sets the tone for the entire show, as the bits that were the best bits of the show, and they were rubbish, so don't need to say anything else about that. TNA. I'm enjoying TNA at the minute, actually. I watched the second, I suppose, of their live shows last Monday. I think they threw in everything but the kitchen sink. It was a little bit of overload, but it was the first time in a long time I've watched a wrestling show, sat back afterwards and thought, I enjoyed that, I'm going to watch it again. TNA's been my preference for a while now, to be honest, just because they do different things occasionally. Bit bored of the WWE same old, and I'm not 12, so they're not aiming at me. That first live show was quite entertaining. I think it was quite clever, really, to put the Hogan Flair thing at the beginning and the end of the show. It gave them a double bite of the cherry to grab people in. I don't know if they didn't get the word out to enough people to say it was on, and that's why the rating, I think it only did a 1 in America, less than a 1 just. But they did some new and different things. I like the archaic, anarchic sort of thing that goes on there. It's very Bischoff, re-controversy creates cash, and you'll understand and probably be able to guess exactly what's going to happen next in TNA. It's very WCW-like. Having said that, I was still entertained with it, and I did watch this week's again, which, although it's pre-recorded, I tried my best to stay away from people telling me what was going to happen on the internet. It's not easy to do sometimes. I don't know why I want to watch it. That's the point. I don't want to know what's going to happen first. It's like girls reading these soap magazines that tell you what's going to happen in EastEnders. Well, that's half hour of my life I'm never going to get back. Once I've read that and I know what's going to happen, and you make me watch it anyway. So I did quite well at staying away from it all. I was fairly entertained though. I don't like the Green Lantern thing that they're doing on there with Abyss. I think it's pathetic. I think that TNA needs to stay away from ripping off other wrestlers with what they do. I mean, you've got Jay Lethal being the Macho Man, you've got Shark Boy being Stone Cold, now you've got AJ being Flair and Abyss doing what you're going to do and honking out. bit pathetic in the first week when RVD was hit about 1,000 times with a bat and still got up, but you've got to love Vince Russo, haven't you? Hated the Foley angle until this week. I didn't get it why the guy was there, just being embarrassed week after week after week. I'd have gone home. But he thankfully stood up to Bischoff this week and shaved Bischoff's head. Again, quite funny. Not entirely a new idea. Bischoff certainly had his head shaved on the WWE programming. Probably did on WCW if I remember correctly. So, not really a new idea, but maybe giggle. Now, had they shaved Foley's head, I'd have been very impressed. But that wasn't going to happen, I don't think. The Jarrett angle was even bloody worse. I don't get that at all. Don't understand the point of it. And I don't understand why the characters as they're being played, why Hogan's character's letting Bischoff pick on and abuse Jarrett so much, and then Bischoff comes out and stops Hogan hitting Sting with a bat, because that's wrong to do. But to send Val Venis into the toilets to beat up Jeff Jarrett, fine. Does Hogan supposedly not watch this show once it's been done, so he doesn't know what's going on behind his back? Not sure. Again, it's a bit WCW writing. It's that sort of off-the-wall stuff where it doesn't make sense, and they don't think it needs to make sense. It's pro wrestling. Anyway, that was my first show. It's about the third attempt to do my first show, because I tried to do it all in one go and it didn't really come out very well. So I then tried to edit it, and then YouTube doesn't like my editing software. So this has all been done in a one. It may not be all that polished, but hopefully some people will watch it and some people will be entertained by it. Tune in for the next show where I'm going to do something a bit different. I thought what I'd do is I'd review some of the wrestling review shows. Primarily PWRshow.com and Jeff Meacham's show. Those are the two that I watch religiously. They're my two subscriptions. So tune in for that one and see if we can't review them for a change. Oh, anybody receive any comments? Crack on.